Hi, I'm John Dutton, and tonight we are at Spilled Ink East, and it's going to be a great night. It is December 11th. We are going to have a Christmas edition. So on the 25th, while we're done and having a wonderful time with family and friends, I assume we're all going to be Zooming with our family and friends. So we'll just keep it right on Zooming right into some Spilled Ink. So remember, put that on your calendar for the 25th. All right, I had new stuff, but in the haste of dropping the kids off and getting some food and dealing with the dog, of course, I left it on the table. I've been writing. We did some poetry this week with the kids, and I made them write an Among Us mystery. So the gamers out there, if you know what I'm talking about, I wrote it Among Us mystery, and I like it. So it's has a good twist at the end. But I came up with an oldie but a goodie from 2017. It's called Community Pool. And here it is. May 27th, 2017. It was a beautiful day. You know, not too hot, not too windy. It was a perfect day for our first trip to our community pool. It was also Memorial Day. Oh, today left a memory, all right. My daughter and I arrived at the pool around noon. After lathering up with SPF 70 suntan lotion, I settled into the plastic lounge chair and flipped open my Jack Reacher novel. My daughter is a social butterfly, and there were plenty of children at the pool that day for her to befriend. She waded into the pool, and I began reading. The next thing I knew, the whistle was sounding, marking the 15-minute break. Now it was just after the first 45-minute session, and at 12:45, when Kale, a 9-year-old boy, spread his towel on the ground next to my 7-year-old daughter. At that very second, my daughter's future flashed before my eyes, and it scared the shit out of me. For that very moment, I remember the words of my friend Brian Heffron. With boys, you have to worry about one penis. With girls, you have to worry about them all. I swallowed hard and contemplated what to do. I felt movement behind me and someone whispered, "First, they take your dog." I turned and I realized it was Kanoya Reeves as John Wick, wearing a white wife beater t-shirt and Armani swimming trunks. I stared at him for quite a while before giving a short, quick nod in agreement. A scraping sound of an aluminum chair being dragged across the concrete woke me from my reverie as someone sat down next to me. "Then they take your daughter," a gruff voice announced. I turned towards the voice and saw Liam Neeson as Brian Mills eased back into a chair holding a Coca-Cola dripping with condensation. He was bare-chested and wearing camouflage cargo pants. I saw myself in the mirrored wraparound Ray-Bans he wore to conceal his ever-shifting eyes, and I looked pissed. "There's cheese and crackers in the cooler. Help yourself, but don't eat my daughter's goldfish." "I got to see a man about a horse," I said as I adjusted my cheap sunglasses. I stood, stretched, reapplied the suntan lotion. I wiped the excess on my faded swim trunks and cleaned my hands. As the lifeguard's whistle sounded the next swimming session, I excused myself. All the while, my eyes followed Kale and my daughter. I crossed the hot cement and dropped down into the 3 feet end of the pool. My eyes never left my daughter, so I bumped into Clint Eastwood as Harry Callahan. Dirty Harry wore green and black longboard shorts, but his collared shirt was pressed, and pressed tie looked somewhat out of place in the pool. But who in their right mind is going to tell him that? Harry and I watched my daughter, who is never shy. Harry and I watched as my daughter dumped All right. Harry and I watched as my daughter, who is never shy, dumped all of our pool toys in the water. It was like chumming the water as kids scrambled for the treasures. I need to protect my daughter's virtue, but at what price, I pondered. My question was answered when a striker water pistol floated towards me and bumped into my thigh. I stared at it when I heard Harry said, "Go ahead, make your day." There was screaming and chaos all around me as I scooped up the striker and I thumbed open the chamber and plunged it underwater. As the chamber flooded, I scanned the pool for kale. When I located that scrawny interlooper, I realized how much I hate salad. I waded slowly through the water towards him. When I closed the distance a few feet, I raised the striker and fired 2 quick rounds into his forehead. Squirt, squirt. Feeling vindicated as for saving my daughter's virtue, I relaxed. It was then I heard from behind me the 3 cruelest words ever uttered against me. Let's get Grandpa. Blast from my own arsenal, supplied by my own daughter, ripped into my head and torso. I saw movement to my left as someone jumped in the pool feet first and landed next to me. The sploosh sprinkled my sunglasses with water. I turned, and there beside me stood Michael Douglas as William Forrest in cut-off blue jeans and a Sun Pacific collared Hawaiian shirt. He smiled, a big grin showing off his pearly whites. He spoke bluntly. You're not a vigilante. You're just trying to get home to your daughter's birthday party. Wait, my daughter's birthday is in March and she is standing over there on the deck. That story isn't going to play for any jury. Work with me here. You're a teacher, right? It's the end of the school year. Every jury I know will let you off the hook with an insanity plea. Now, do you want to take down these ankle biters or not? Hell, it'll only get worse from here. Think about her teenage years. He glanced down into the water as a stream machine with an extended barrel. It was a fine weapon, allowing for 4 bursts from one fully loaded cylinder. As I looked down at it, I heard Harry call from across the pool, "Go ahead, make your day again." Saving my daughter's virtue is going to be a 24/7, 365-day job. Might as well start today, I shouted as I moved like lightning. I grabbed the steam machine and plunged it under the water. I pulled back the handle and the water flooded the cylinder. I was locked and loaded in under 2 seconds as Harvey Keitel, as Mr. White, wearing just a blue Speedo, whispered, You shoot me in a dream, you better wake up and apologize. He slapped me on the back like a proud father, and then I turned and opened fire on the rest of the salad bar. There were 4 of them, and it felt like I was facing the Goonies. However, Mikey Walsh was replaced by a girl with brunette hair and pigtails wearing a pink one-piece swimsuit. Data was easier to spot because he wore goggles on his forehead and blue swim kids trunks. Mouth appeared to be the smallest kid. He didn't talk, but he never stopped smiling. He couldn't hide because of his yellow SpongeBob t-shirt. Chunk, the last of the Goonies, was a thin, pale boy with freckles wearing red trunks and a white t-shirt. I took down Mikey Walsh with a quick pump. Back off, feminist. She just happened to be my closest target. Next, Data stormed forward, feeling heroic. I knew he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed because he wore goggles on top of his forehead. I gave him a quarter pump in the face. Swoosh. I waited for him to wipe his face clear and locate me. Then I unloaded another quarter pump into his mug. Swoosh. I raised my weapon a third time, and he thought better than to make another charge. As I watched Data scamper off, I felt bits of shrapnel pierce my right earlobe. I turned and stood waist to face with Chunk, the thin, pale boy with freckles. I emptied what was left of the clip into the kid's nostrils. Mouth, the last remaining crouton in the salad bowl, was grinning ear to ear, knowing I was out of ammo. He was the smallest of the group, a Hispanic boy. He was moving fast towards me, thinking about that Grandpa was a goner. Mouth was 3 feet away and raised another striker pistol at my face. I disarmed him with a move straight out of the Matrix before he knew what had happened and unloaded his own weapon into his face. I followed him up all the way across the pool, emptying the clip. Squirt, 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 squirt. This time, Data and his goggles returned, and he still had not placed the protective gear over his eyes. As luck would have it, I ended up by the pool's water purifier, and the water being sucked through it. The stream machine was floating directly towards me. I took 2 long strides, and in one fluid motion, grabbed the cylinder, filled the chamber, and came up firing. I closed the gap on Data with all the while releasing one powerful stream into his face. I shouted, "For goodness sake, put the goggles over your eyes." As he did what I asked, I reloaded the cylinder. Data was now with goggles in his place, was once again feeling heroic. He charged at me, letting loose with a gut-wrenching "Argh!" Unfazed, I unloaded the full chamber of the stream machine into his big mouth. Big open mouth. Swoosh. I heard someone utter, "Gotta love the mouth breathers." I looked up, and there on the deck, wearing a full wetsuit, including fins and snorkel, was Samuel L. Jackson as Jules Winfield. He nodded at me and said, "Go on. You know you want to say it." I inhaled deeply and I shouted, "I will strike you down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger, those who attempt to poison and destroy my daughter. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee." I plunged the cylinder yet again and unloaded the weapon to its maximum capacity. Everyone in the pool was now my intended target. Rivers of water streamed off the barrel as I rose from the water and took aim. Tweet, 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 sounded the lifeguards' whistles, ending the session. "Time for Cheetos and Mountain Dew," I announced. I flipped the water pistol. I flipped the weapon over my shoulder and made my way to the ladder and exit the water. Jules Winfield offered me a hand exiting the pool. We made our way over to the table where my two kids were already unloading the snack bag. Kenio Reeves, Liam, Michael, and Harvey were playing poker. Samuel took an open chair and joined the group. Harvey looked up at me and said, "Relax. You've got 13 minutes until the next session. Should we deal you in?" "No, thanks," I answered. "I'm just going to grab a few minutes of shut-eye. Wake me at the whistle." I eased back in the lounge chair and made myself comfortable. I closed my eyes and slept peacefully for the rest of the afternoon. And that was Community Pool. So I enjoyed that. It was a good day. It was fun. I know it's not going to be summer like that until this COVID's over. So that's why I read that now. It was a fun day. All right, let's see. Let's go. We'll start because Alice had some phone issues last time. Alice, we're going to start with you.
The fire was raging by the time we got out, stood on the lawn, and started to shout to those who were gathered on that Monday night, watching for firemen start their fight, saying, "Keep back, people," and a whole lot more, but mostly to each other, their efficiency shining. A few neighbors stood back, their own business minding. Dawn stayed so calm, as I always remember, even on this cold Friday night in December. But I digress, for the story I'm now trying to tell has an ending you'll like. All is well. Let's turn to the relative interesting facts to hear one item free from the flames' attacks. These were my records, the long playing type, stored in a deep cupboard, well out of sight. By 2 a.m., the flames had subsided, and that's when a fireman, to my questions, delighted as he told me I could go back and pull a few things away. This young hero now brought my night today. Good friends accompanied me in the back door, and with quick instructions, we grabbed furniture and more: china, books, kitchenware, typewriter, school papers, my stored fur coat, a few clothes from the washer. In my diary I wrote, but let's get back to the records which Time Life had sold me. They came once a month. Been music treasures, still a comfort to me. Each Christmas season, I start by listening to Renaissance carols, and this morning it was time to listen to the herald who begins the Messiah in all its glory, telling the world the nativity story. I played these oratorios well until noon and thought back to that May evening and the miracle of saving Handel's glorious tunes. A final thought to share with all you music lovers out there. The soloist introduces his portentous subject with two simple words: comfort ye. He later adds, comfort ye, my people, saith your God. This year, I needed this comfort even more. Music is my method, and so much more.
Thank you, Alice. Much appreciated. I'm glad we could get all that Zoom issues out of the way and that it worked so much better this time. So nicely done. Thank you, Alice. All right, let's go. David Holloway, Let's try it again. Here you go.
All right, great. I'm going to read one of my Florida stories. It's about Florida friendship, family, and circus.
All right.
Let me see if I can pull it up here. I'm gonna read it on paper. The blistering Florida sun baked the crime scene. Kenny towed the wreckage, hoping for a sign of life, while his friend Tom watched hopelessly. Somebody had torn down their poster, broke the climbing poles, and worst of all, smashed the big red cardboard box that had once held all 12 of their bright green lizard performers. The lizard stayed caught, named, and trained all summer since 4th grade ended. A small broken tail twitched on the patio floor. There were no corpses, but the concrete was smeared with blood. Tom rested his hand on Kenny's shoulder. Neither of them said anything for a long moment. The two friends searched the backyard for survivors. One bright green chameleon crouched timidly in a planter among a vicious crown of thorns plant. "It's Jingo," Tom said. "I wish he could tell us who did this." Their star acrobat, Jingo, could do more tricks than any other lizard. Kenny's brother Justin swaggered out of the back door, stepping on their hand-drawn circus poster. He stepped up so close that Kenny could smell his bacon-scented breath and poked him with his finger. "See what happens when you aren't careful? Bang your crummy bike against my car again. It'll be more than just your stupid pets that get hurt." After he left, they plotted revenge. Tom came up with extreme fantasy plans. They couldn't build a car bomb. What's he most afraid of in the world? He's petrified of snakes. Well, snakes and girls, but mostly snakes. Let's go to the field. We can always find snakes there. Nothing venomous, Kenny said. I don't want to kill him. A pygmy rattlesnake would be a sign from God, Tom said. Kenny took a shovel. They raced to the vacant lot at the end of the street. Snakes love to hide in the construction trash scattered through the weeds there. Tom grabbed the corner of a large sheet of plywood lying on the ground and said, "Get ready," flipping it over. A large black racer sat coiled in a perfect circle in the dead yellow grass. Kenny brought the flat blade of the shovel down on the snake quickly but gently. Tom caught the thrashing snake behind its head. You could say its neck, but really, snakes are all neck. Head, neck, tail. That's your basic snake. The snake wrapped around Tom's arm, flicking its tongue out, tasting them as they walked back up the street. Tom dropped the snake into Justin's car, and it zipped around before disappearing under the front seat. Kenny felt a little queasy, but Tom's face showed only triumph. 3 days later, they stood at Justin's bedside in Tampa General. A tangle of wires and tubes ran in and out of him. Justin had run a stop sign and been T-boned by a pickup, totaling his red Galaxy 500. "Nake, Nake, Nake," Justin moaned, trapped in his nightmare. He woke up and asked, "What are you bozos doing here?" "Came to see how you're doing," Kenny said. Justin closed his eyes, and as they left, Kenny heard a whispered, "Thanks." "He might not be able to walk, definitely never playing football again," Kenny told Tom. "He'll never smash another lizard circus, that's for sure," Tom said. Kenny looked away, his eyes filling with tears. "What happened to the snake?" Tom asked. Jingo skittered from Kenny's right hand, up his arm, across his shoulders, down onto his left hand, and then leaped back to where he started. Kenny gave him a mealworm. The scratchy claws of the lizard on his bare arms made him shiver. Tom came around the corner, holding a blank sheet of poster board and some markers. "Good, you're getting Jingo back in practice. Do you think he could swing from a trapeze holding on by his jaws?" "Justin came home," Kenny said. "Yeah?" Tom looked around for a flat place to work on the new poster. Kenny didn't meet his eyes. "He's going to be in a wheelchair for months. The snake slithered out between his legs and freaked him out so bad he ran the stop sign. He could have been killed." Dropping the poster board on the ground, Tom wiped some sweat from his forehead. "I just figured Justin would see it and freak out when he got in the car." "Yeah, me too. Poor guy, but he kind of brought it on himself. At least we won't have to worry about him smashing our stuff anymore." Tom knelt down and opened a gold marker. He outlined 3 stars the size of lemons. He always started this way, drawing a few details and then filling in around them. Kenny shook his head. You know, I think starting over again is just too much. He eased Jingo onto the terracotta edge of a planter and waved his hands at him. The startled lizard disappeared into a cluster of geraniums. And that was Circus.
Nice. I like it. Don't mess with those two kids ever.
Oh.
All right. How about we'll go right across the top row. Robbie Krieger, you would be next. Robbie Rise. Robbie Rise Krieger. Take it away.
Rise. I also have a pen named Jack Patch. I've been doing some housekeeping with my blog, and I changed the address. So it is now the pages of jackpatch.blogspot.com. I'll put it in the chat later. I have a lot of words from a lot of outdoor and nature poets and writers and authors, and a little bit of original work. Just getting started with that. I'm going to read part of my epic poem tonight about my adventure on the Appalachian Trail a few years ago. So far, I've taken y'all through Georgia, North Carolina, and Tennessee, 3 states. Now we're in the 4th state, Virginia, and we're going through Southern Virginia. Here goes. Breaking through the backwoods. All right, let me try that again, sorry. Breaking into the backwoods, I opened a door to the outside, pausing on the path as I returned for the ride. Freed by my feet and far into the forest, it was Otto Leopold I did meet. Backpack and boots, we observed antiquity rolling through the roots. Each step on the soil, each crunch of the carpet told of early toil. Here on the original highway, we hiked with history until settling at a stream and leaving Moses to mystery. We slept at this site shortly after Chatfield shelter, where shadowy branch grew bright with the milk of the moon, tanning our tents with light. Journeying up the Jefferson, we were neighbors for the night. Until I awoke alone, Otto vanished as the blossoms were blown. By a warm spring wind, breezes that brush the vernal understory into view, motions of the morning heightened by this hue. Late April leaves, glowing with green, finding my way over fences, it was something of a scene. After daring with the day, I finally tasted Crawfish Trail, creeping over her creek, praying for privacy, ever so sly and sneak. I was tired and didn't want to talk. Behind those bushes, I was sure no stranger would stalk. Besides, the campsite was far back, in that tree, stuck in the stream, sealed my seclusion, impassable it did seem. Content and calm, this sight of solitude hid me from hikers as I meditated on the mood of these shrubs and earth. Walled off in the wild, they whispered of their worth. Thank you all for listening.
Nice. I love the imagery of you trying to get some peace and you're way up ahead. I just love that.
Yeah, man.
Nicely done, Rob. Nicely done. All right, Robert F., you are up. Rob.
Good evening.
Hi, guys.
I'm a writer from Delaware. So I'm gonna first share a Japanese style format. It's called Road Trip Senryu Ya. 30-hour road trip, 7-Eleven Blue Slurpee Ya. Roadside Blue Pea Stop. Turnpike Rest Stop, yeah. Vending machine Ho Ho, yeah. Creamy stomach, yeah. Gear windshield kiss yo. airbag human frottage. Oh, car wreckage value. Oi. Tire stabbing yodel. Rim asphalt released delio. Emergency yo. Passenger assault. Passenger ejection, yeah. Ass on asphalt, yeah. Empty beverage. Backseat garbage dump filled. Budweiser beer cans. So that was the first one. The second one is a satire on a song that was done in, I think it was the 1960s by Neil Sedaka and Carole King. So the first one is called O'Neill, and it's sung by Carole King. O'Neill, tell you how I feel. You won't kiss me. O'Neill, what's your deal? I can't let you be. O'Neill, show you my latkes. Only want me in the kitchen. O'Neill, don't want to see them. What's up? Only want my chicken. O'Neill, I will love you tomorrow. You're such a heel. O'Neill, make you my fellow. That is how I feel. And then this is Neil Sedaka's response to Carol. Oh, Carol. Oh, Carol, you sing so fine. I love you so. Oh, Carol, you will not be mine. I've got to go. Oh, Carol, you're not my kind. I'm not your catch. Oh, Carol, a better man you'll never find. I don't like snatch. Oh, Carol, I'll never give you a child. Put me in your past. Oh, Carol, let's not go on that ride. End us fast. So that's it.
We're going to go right down underneath. Let's go Lesley Tyson. Lesley, you are up.
Sorry, having trouble with the mute button. Okay, so I got a request, so I'm going to honor it and read through Journey Through Red Heaven. There's actually not a poem called Journey Through Red Heaven in the book. So I'm going to pull together just a couple of short ones that kind of sort of talk about the journey, start midway. Red heavens scattered with stars. No doors, walls, no scrim to sweep aside. Surface and interpretation of faith, flow of red crimson scarlet blood, virtually tangible, becomes neutral to contrast path of brilliantly colored river-tossed pebbles, climbing, falling over each other, hurrying to horizon, curving around the point of cool star starting to shift blue. Thought becomes motion, I am flow, my own colors kaleidoscopic. I begin journey without a name. And this is Red Bittersweet. This background red, color of birthday cake, messages dribbled in gel so intensely sweet, It is bitter burning, turning every layer cardboard. But this all-present red taste of tart, just remembering to be sweet. Fresh berries soaking into flaky crust, cream cooled warm against the tongue, flavor of sunlight. Summer memories dripping their color into this moment. And I think this is a good poem to go with Robbie's because, you know, you've gone through this journey and how you keep coming back to it. And this is sort of like tracking through this meditation, coming back to the same place, except it cannot be. The same, neither of us is what we were. There is no safe space. Unexperienced futures change us both. There is no periodic determination of time or place we can repeat again. We will meet under familiar heaven, recognize where we are, what directions we could choose. The journey will not be identical. What remains now, shaped by who we are now. Future expeditions will surface memories that change new ones we will make. Hues of red in this heaven will mutate, maybe fade, even if it is my eyes that see colors differently. Thank you.
Ingrid's having trouble, so we'll just move on. Katherine Gotthardt. Go ahead, take it away, Katherine Gotthardt.
All right. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. I put a post out today because I've got my next book coming out and I'm really excited about it. It's called DC Ekphrastic Crisis of Faith, and it's based on a collection of black and white photos. This is the first time that I've been able to do something with a photographer, so I'm really excited about it. So that should be ready probably next week or so. And so I thought today I would read one of the poems from the collection. It is called Morning Offering. I've become a stereotype, old man mumbling to himself, street, cement, and steel slightly deaf, making me wonder if I should speak louder, maybe make an impression. Would my muttering echo then? What would they think if I had something to say? Now there's the crux of it, right? Something to say? We all think we've got it, but in the overcast, emerging from under the scaffold, shoulders hunched in confusion over this great world, wearing an overcoat, heck, even Sunday morning is muted. No great news from the pulpit. We've done our jobs. We showed up, seekers of truth and meaning. Many of us walked far to arrive here, carrying heavy hope the designated elocutionist would read out loud some secret from a torn out sheet of wisdom. We're about to be disappointed. You ask me what I'm thinking? This is it. I'm a walking faith crisis. It's true. Don't worry, it won't last forever. Even the stratosphere has a limit, bumping elbows with edges of space and time, seeking that same God we suspect could be listening. Maybe that's reason to mumble, right? I'm not losing my mind. I'm merely more holy than you, taller, closer to the sky. No, I don't really believe that. You can relax. I'll take my uncomfortable conversation elsewhere, somewhere into the air. And if you want to look up the book webpage, it is www.dccrisisoffaith.com. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I saw that announcement today, so look for that coming up. I do like the cover. I was intrigued. I was like, oh, that's DC right there. So good cover. All right, Michael Crowley, you are up. Michael Crowley and his colorful, festive background. All right, Michael, take it away.
Okay, this is one I wrote today. It's called Correcting My Cat's Misconceptions. No, Susie, Mark Twain wasn't a tortoise. Too much sanity is madness. No, Susie, fruit doesn't cause baldness. Too much sanity is madness. No, Susie, You don't park a new rainbow. Too much sanity is madness. No, Susie, mortal sin isn't a chapeau. Too much sanity is madness. No, Susie, castrati aren't big cookies. Too much sanity is madness. No, Susie, puns weren't aborigines. Too much sanity is madness. Susie, stay away from the internet. Too much internet is madness. That's that one. Okay, this next one is the one that has to do with the background, and it's called Holiday Epigraphs Without a Poem. And what that basically means is it's all quotes from somebody else. Here we go. If my Valentine you won't be, I'll hang myself on your Christmas tree. That's Ernest Hemingway. The main reason Santa is so jolly is because he knows where all the bad girls live. George Carlin. It snowed last year too. I made a snowman and my brother knocked it down. And I knocked my brother down. And then we had tea. It was Dylan Thomas. Aren't we forgetting the true meaning of Christmas? You know, the birth of Santa. It was Bart Simpson. I once bought my kids a set of batteries for Christmas with a note on it saying, toys not included. That was Bernard Manning. I never believed in Santa Claus because I knew no white dude would come into my neighborhood after dark. Dick Gregory. Santa Claus has the right idea. Visit people only once a year. That was Victor Borga. Santa Claus wears a red suit. He must be a communist. And long hair. He must be a pacifist. What's in the pipe he's smoking? Arlo Guthrie. There are a lot of things money can't buy. Not one of them is on my son's list. Milton Berle. People really act weird at Christmas time. What other time of year do you sit in front of a dead tree in the living room and eat nuts and sweets out of your socks? Unknown. I stopped believing in Santa Claus when I was 6. My mother took me to see him in a department store and he asked for my autograph. Shirley Temple. Times are hard. Here's your fucking Christmas card. Phyllis Diller. And finally, Merry Christmas, nearly everyone. That was Holiday Epigraphs Without a Poem. And I'm going to end with, I did not do this song last year. It's a holiday song that I wrote called A North Pole Party. I was going to try and revise it. That's why I didn't do it last year. And the lyrics are so tied to the melody, I couldn't do it. So it has a little bit too much alcohol in it. The toys have all been given and his Christmas chores are done. His Yule route has been driven. Now it's time to have some fun. So it's a pole party, a North Pole party. It's a pole party, a North Pole party. The night is 6 months, but they'll party till there's sun. Do, 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 do. Santa's made his list and he's checked it twice. Now he's ready for a twist with vodka and ice, 'cause it's a pole party, a North Pole party. It's a pole party, a North Pole party. It's a pole party, and Santa's more naughty than nice. Do, 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 do. Rudy's hoofs got foes, watching Santa's back. Now he's gonna dispose of a keg of Applejack, 'cause it's a pole party, a North Pole party. It's a pole party, a North Pole party. It's a pole party, and Rudolph's shaking the shack. Do, 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 do. Donner and Blitzen split a case of beer, while Dancer and Prancer drank Royal Crown neat. You never did see such party reindeer. Even Dasher and Vixen had Uzo from Crete, 'cause it's a pole party, a North Pole party. It's a pole party, a North Pole party, and those reliable reindeer are puking in the street. Do, 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 do. The elves are drinking hooch and riding on the pooch. Mrs. Sanders on the couch drinking spiked eggnog. Old Scrooge is trying to see how much booze he can mooch. Frosty's dancing on the table with the tankard of grog, 'cause it's a pole party, a North Pole party. It's a pole party, a North Pole party, and the whole place is in a fog.
That just made my day, Michael Crowley. I just love it when you sing. Just made my entire week so much better. So thank you, Michael. I appreciate it very much, and I'm sure others did as well. Lots of people giving us some love tonight on the with the emojis. So yes, good job. All right, now we have one more in that row. So Megan, McDonald, Chad, Interruptus.
Okay, so I have a question about Cat Interruptus. The current series I'm working on, the title Cat Interruptus is a poem that I'm thinking about reading today, but it's got a couple of bad words. Should I edit those out or read them as?
You know what? Go for it.
Okay.
Just go for it. Let's have some fun. Just go ahead.
Okay, Cat Interruptus. Nose to nose, back butt rubbing tail up nostrils. Kellis McAllister Grace Cat resides in self-centered court, Fairfax, Virginia, Cat States of America. Never shy, but aloof when he wants. Door jam poetry cat surfer. Fuck, another line lost to scratching chin demands. Oh, beastly promiscuity, chasing the next best catnip toy, discarding the one destroyed yesterday. These lines were meant to be on the glory of walks in Virginia, but is just another poem on black hole kittydom. That's it. So hold on for the next one.
All right.
Unexpected. What is unexpected in a constant earthquake mode? A quiet place to be at one at peace inside and roam by snail mail. One at peace inside and roam by snail mind. Even the cat sniffing out ink to stop this poem is not unexpected. In another place and time, I could write on copper cities and wander in search of paella and words. Today, the pen is winnowed down to write on mainly mundane things. A cat a purr pen butt block, and trapped by purrs penning down the cloud passing by the slatted window. Then the last one is in the middle. When what comes in the middle of a dream, when spectral ships are at full sail on a dead calm sea, when you feel only fear with no knowledge of getting out to sea and be calmed, not knowing where you are going, you realize this is we can't wake up. Everyday America, and we can't wake up. Even in winning, we lose with the numbers voting the other side. No clear way to sail with inertia. Winds to sail on to nowhere, America. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Let's go, John Cowgill. John Cowgill, take it away.
Make sure I did unmute myself. So the first one I'm going to read is a story called Happy Holidaze. It was a bright sunny day in late December. I was sitting on a bench, reading a book, glancing up from time to time to see what was going on around me. As I was looking down at my book, and a strange feeling came upon me. I peeked and saw a beautiful red-haired woman with a bright smile sitting next to me. Her hair flowed from beneath her Santa hat onto the shoulders of her red sweater with lights that lit up on and off. She wore black leggings that went halfway down her calf, and she was barefoot with some mistletoe on her right big toe. Hello, I smiled at her. Merry Christmas, she smiled with a twitch in her face. It's so nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, I said. You're very Christmassy today. Thank you, she stretched out her bare feet across my lap. I am Holidaze. Holidaze, I thought it was a cute name for a cute lady. I like your name. Thank you, she had a gleeful joy about her. When I am happy, you can call me Happy Holidaze. What a very cute name, I grinned. I hope that you can get something good for Christmas. Another woman with a bright red hair came to the bench wearing a red shirt, green leggings, and red socks with black flat shoes, and she sat opposite of where Holly was seated. Oh, Holly blurted as she was rubbing her foot across my lap. This is Carol Ling. Carol gave me a kiss on my cheek. Now I see Christmas, Carol Ling. You are not going to sing, are you? I thought that I should ask the question. Nope, said Carol. I'm going to give you something instead. She peeled off her right sock and handed it to me. Whatever you pull out of my sock is yours. I hesitated, but then I reached in and I pulled out a set of car keys. The Range Rover is right over there. She pointed to a white Range Rover parked in a nearby parking space. Thank you, I said to her. She kissed me again. You are very welcome. She put her sock back on. I hope that you enjoy it. Would you both like a ride? She shook the keys. They looked at each other. I got into the Range Rover. Carol sat in the back seat. Holly sat in the passenger seat. She took off her shoes and socks and put her bare feet on the dashboard. And as we went off, I was enjoying Happy Holidays and Christmas caroling. And the second one, and we got the new lady in the house. It's called The Angel Train. It was a very snowy Christmas day in the little valley town of Ozput. 2 feet of snow was on the streets, but it did not hinder Tom Scholes from making his way to the train station. He trudged onto the platform through the deep snow to a seat where he cleared off the snow, and he sat down. He took out a paper from his backpack and he began to read. An hour went by. Tom was still sitting on the bench. An elderly man came out to him. Why are you sitting there? He asked. No train is coming. It will be here, Tom spurred out. I don't think so. The elderly man looked both ways on the snow-covered tracks. I hope you are planning on waiting a very long time. I will wait as long as I have to, Tom continued to read his paper. You're an idiot. The elderly man shook his head. No train can make it through this 5 feet of snow. Besides, the snowplows aren't going to be here anytime soon. You might as well. Toot! Sounded weak. A train whistle sounded. An elderly man was dumbfounded. He peeked in one direction and saw a spout of snow shooting high into the air, and it was coming towards them. Here it comes, Tom folded his paper. It was not long wait after all. The train came into sight with a steam engine that was shooting snow out of its neck. As it was approaching, it was pushing snow from the tracks. It pulled up to the station and it screeched to a stop with the first passenger car stopped where Tom was sitting. Impossible. The elderly man could not believe his eyes. This can't be. You're looking at it, Tom stood up. The train has arrived. The train opened at the back side of the car. A barefoot reached out of the car and stepped into the deep snow on the platform. A wing with bright white feathers stretched out. Then a hand came out. The elderly man had a strange look as the angel with her golden blonde hair and her huge bright white rings with a silver robe stepped out completely out of the passenger car. Preposterous, the elderly man stuttered. She is not real. The angel walked up to them. Hello, Angela, Tom slurred out, tipping his hat. Wait a minute, the elderly man was shocked. You know her? She always is the one who greets me every year, Tom smiled. Angela stared at the elderly man. Touch my wings. The elderly man looked down at her bare feet in the snow. It appears that you've never seen someone barefoot in the snow on the ground, she said to him. Preposterous, the elderly man stuttered out. If you were an angel, you would fly. She outstretched her wings. She went up. The elderly man was terrified and fell onto the snowy platform. Don't be afraid, the angel came back down. We are very friendly. Come with us, Tom said. You will enjoy the ride. The elderly man slowly tried to get up. Come with us, Angela helped him up. It's a free ride. The elderly man stood there terrified. Tom and Angela walked to the entrance of the car and they looked back. The elderly man began to shrug. Angela reached out her hand. You will be all right. You will be glad that you came. The elderly man looked at the angel. She flew over to him. She picked him up by the shoulders and she brought him into the car. He looked inside and he was amazed at the bright white interior. The floor was a white fur carpet. The seats were padded with white velvet. The chandeliers were crystal. Let me take you to your seat, Angela said. Tom and the elderly man followed past rows of seats. They saw a man dressed in a white suit playing a harp. They saw a man and a woman sitting together wearing white hiking clothes carrying a large bottle of water. Here are your seats, Angela pointed to where they were sitting. Thank you, Tom said, and he and the elderly man sat down. Call me if you need anything, Angela had a sparkle in her eye and she went away. Where is this train going? The elderly man was looking around. You will see, Tom had a big smile on his face. Just enjoy the ride. The train began to pull away from the station. The elderly man looked outside and the town slowly began to fade into the falling snow. He looked across the aisle and saw three men wearing shiny black suits, each holding a wrapped gift. Hey there, he shouted. Who are the gifts for? The three men looked at the elderly man. He's a new passenger, Tom said to the men. I see, the one man said. I am Magnagon. I have gold for the king. I am Mortazar. I have frankincense for the king. I am Eusaces. I have myrrh for the king. King, the elderly man was dumbfounded. What kind of city is this? The three men looked at each other. You will be amazed when you see the city, Mortazar said. The elderly man began to cringe in his seat. He's shy, Tom said. He does not believe that this train is here. There are so many who do not believe this train exists, Ulysses says, but it comes every time. Everyone has been given a ticket to ride the train, but not everyone uses their ticket. Well, I never got a ticket, the elderly man angered out. But you are on this train, Magnagon said. The elderly man was confused. Relaxed, Magnagon assured him. You will be glad that you came along. The elderly man just sat in the seat. A day went by. The elderly man was looking out the window and he saw a golden city. We're almost there, Tom was looking out behind him. The elderly man continued to look outside as the train pulled into the city. The people stood next to the tracks cheering. We are here, Angela touched his shoulder. Soon you will be able to get off and walk around. The train pulled up to the station. Tom and the elderly man were escorted by Angela off the train. Come, she said, I will take you to the king. The elderly man was overwhelmed with the beauty of the city, and the crowds grew to where the streets were impassable. Angela grabbed Tom in the elderly man's arms, and she lifted them over the crowd. The elderly man became paranoid. Do not worry, Angela held him tight. I will not let you fall. The elderly man was terrified, but he was enjoying the view of the city. He looked forward and saw a glass palace. That's the palace, Angela said. The king is waiting to see you. They went into the palace and they landed in the courtyard. Welcome to my palace, a strong voice spoke out. The elderly man cringed. Do not be afraid, the voice assured him. The elderly man saw a man wearing a bright white robe and a golden crown standing over him. He looked at his old clothes. Worry not, the man said. I am glad that you are here. Come, let us dine together. The elderly man was shaking. Greetings, your majesty, he was trembling. The king reached out his hand. Come, he said. From there, they went with the king. It was next Christmas. There were 6 inches of snow on the train platform. Tom was reading a paper waiting for the train. Can I come with you on the journey? The elderly man asked. Tom looked at the elderly man who was standing next to him. He wiped some snow off from the bench. We could be waiting a long time. I can wait, said the elderly man. Come sit down, Tom patted the bench. The elderly man sat down next to Tom. Together, they waited. And that is the Angel Train.
All right, that was good. Thank you, John. All right, Thomas Burson. Tom, take it away.
There, I've unmuted. Hopefully you can all hear me. The first one's called English Grammar. I once was an outline, not one of those police dead body outlines taped on pavement like a silhouette of shame. I was a dream yet to be addressed. I was still filling out an application to gain a few more possibilities. We all start with a vague feeling, not quite ready to be a proposal, but more than a coloring book ready for a 2-year-old's scrawl. I think of myself as more than a series of Roman numerals. Passion cannot be subdivided and deserves fires on pages, taking letters as kindling, leaving kisses etched, making readers' hearts beat quickly. I am too difficult to assess. People can't wrap their tongue around the words I am, so I leave poems. It's better than graffiti sharing romances with Kilroy. One of my goals is to someday publish one of these 3 books I've been kind of working on. Right now, I'm just calling them chapbook 1, 2, 3. I read from them because it helps me find where my mistakes are. I could really use a good copy reader because my wife volunteers, but I learned a long time ago, don't let anybody too close to you deal with your corrections because it gets personal. Now this one's called Hope's Accident. Scraped my knee against this poem as I stumbled across your words, saw the candles burning through the cypress grove, ran against the boat tied to the dock of your past, bobbing in the water, the oars ship bumping against the stake driven deep. The lighthouse moaning in the fog, ghosts swirling. You try to create the promise of once was in a now that is only a phantom. I broke a nail on the silken ties, so artfully crisscrossing the heart, keeping you in prison, laughing through tears, claiming pleasure as I ran my fingers across welts of memory. This reaper's moon sits fat on the horizon. My tongue tastes the salt, tears. You protest, declare magic, lost on the edge of the horizon where the sea disappears, all directions. We are following the arc of perspective. The thunderheads on the horizon flatten on the ceiling of the sky. The gulls spin and wheel, cry out. I have a splinter driven deeply beneath the skin, the gunwales of the dory. Your tongue traces the blue-black ridge on my skin, the path of its entry. It will fester. And lastly, a quick short one called Standing in the Face of Contradiction. How does one believe in forevers? The universe seems built on falling apart, yet life is about coming together in the face of all fears. Call it love and whisper away the dark as I lie next to you, watching things move. The only I seem to understand, I never want an empty bed again, yet it follows. The way life runs, the facts are clear. I face reality, pounding on its door of truth. Why does love insist that I believe? For all the clocks, news reports of trauma, for all the ways my fears pile up, leaves against an abandoned stoop, I have no arguments that prevent me from holding you and accepting love's strange charge about forever. Thank you.
Oh, it's like a double bonus. We got Michael Crowley singing tonight, and Dr. Love, Thomas Burson, brings it hard. It was wonderful. I love your imagery all the time, Tom. So thank you very much. Nicely done. Oh, wonderful.
Thank
All right.
you.
Paulette, where is Paulette Gardner?
On Sunday, December 6, 2020, I left home at 8 a.m. for church. While driving back home about noon, I remembered the egg I was boiling before leaving home. The memory dislodged my heart. Clamor consumed my thoughts. Who do I call? There was no one at home. What do I do? Speed home? How do I calm my rattling nerves? As I got closer to home, my nerves were on high alert. I expected to hear sirens blaring, to see billowing black clouds, billowing black smoke in the air. When I turned the corner onto my street, I expected to see flames shooting out of my townhouse, firemen with hoses spraying water. My lungs deflated like a pricked balloon. All was quiet on the home front. Like an open fire hydrant, relief and gratitude gushed out of me. The egg was still boiling on the stove on low heat with about an ounce of water left in the pan. Whew.
All right, Sharon, you got something?
I have something.
Excellent.
I haven't read this one out loud before, but it's the first chapter from my new book called Iceman Awakens. And it's based on the mummy that they found murdered in the Italian Alps back in 1991. So this is his first chapter called From the Grave. I am dead. For 5,000 years, snow and ice hid my body on the side of the mountain I crossed many times. Dying seemed so final. 1 minute, fresh alpine air breathes. The next minute, that same air rattles stale of all oxygen, leaving me gasping and empty. As I died, no light of the new spring warmed me, only the cold darkness of failure. My murderer's arrowhead pierced an artery deep within my left shoulder, paralyzing my arm and filling my ribs with blood. My body staggered, dropping to one knee upon impact. My vision glazed from the attack. He had hunted me expertly, felling me with only one shot from behind. The slow sound of distant snow crunching under his boots neared. Struggling to stand, the puncture wound set the mark deep. I fell to kneeling, almost praying. He soon would have my life. The past 4 moons marked his patient tracking. How could I have been so careless? The hunter had arrived, despite all my efforts. He had hidden in wait roughly 30 paces behind a brace of trees and a large rock. The perfect position to catch his prey, the perfect place to aim his bow and send his arrow to his mark. I wanted to stand, but the will to breathe was stronger. The bitter taste of blood wet my tongue. I tried to form words of a curse, but none came. The air was too thin and too biting at this height on the Alp. Consciousness wouldn't linger much longer. My quickening heart pumped more and more blood through the hole, pooling and gurgling inside like a mountain spring. My chest felt tight heat from the straining of my heart. Sweat soaked through my fur coverings, leaving a deep cold as the blood in my skin retreated to be nearer my weakening heart. His hand squeezed my shoulder, twisting the arrow's shaft. Pain, pulsing pain, rushed to my brain as the flint broke off, causing me to lose sight for a moment. In the darkness, I sought courage and found realization that courage shouldn't matter now. Hope's cry was being drowned out by blood's gurgling, surging waves in my ears. He pulled the broken shaft from its mark before grabbing the pouch from the cord around my neck. Snow crunched to cushion my head, but the rock my lips landed on bruised any last words that might have escaped. Drool formed, freezing me to the rock. My eyes struggled to lock on to reason through the haze that was forming, and then I knew. Life had come to this, and a betrayal never felt so deep. Removing his axe from his belt, he shifted his weight to deal my head a crushing blow. My sight grew dimmer, the haze clouding out the light, wanting to see the vision of Mara, trying to picture the flowers that would be coming soon, the festivals of the people. These images of comfort faded and abandoned me. Fear forced me alone in this, Fear forced my aloneness in close. I had failed. Realizing the secret would die with me, I felt tension ease and I let go. Courage sent my spirit to the afterworld. She carried my spirit out, escaping through the side before he brought the jadeite axe down heavy upon the back of my skull. My name was Gaspare, a descendant from an ancient tribe. My tribe, Ankwar, was based in the 3 fathers who had come together, 1 from the south and 2 from the east. We groomed the land to reveal secrets of survival, tamed the animals to create herds. We were not like the Grundelier, who were comparable to beasts living underground. We were curious about the cycles of growth, the potential of life from a seed, the power of a tribesman to grow in status with dominion over these seeds, and the strength of those who had the ability to not only grow life, but take it. Our Ankwar tribe chose peace. Those from within our tribe, like spores that itched with anger, however, broke free, traveled an eastbound wind to the horsemen, and returned to exact revenge we weren't ready to defend against. I was a son and brother. Some thought me a worthless coward. Someone, I hope, had found me brave. The mountain became my tomb. Silence alone mourned me. The wind which had once guided me brought a gentle snow down for cover. The spirit of Chelana protected my remains. She was present in the snow that lay gently on my shoulders. She howled in the wind that blew more snow, pressing me into the ground. No one found me dead until the numerous blankets of snow and ice receded thousands of years later. As the icy blanket slid off my lifeless form, my story found hope again to live. My destiny in death was not the absurdity I was not the absurdity I had relinquished my life to once being. I walked the land long before the birth of pharaohs. The secrets I keep are not from the tomb, but from the times of the first kings, when men felt it his right to rule over other men and determine the destiny of a people. Fate's futility melted with the glacier's thaw. I still have a role to play in the saga of men. May the new era bring light into the darkness I once knew, an understanding of the power that lies hidden within the hills of the ancient tribes. I am the Iceman.
Nice. Nicely done. See, and just like that, you went from first time to a regular, just like that. So come anytime. All right. I'm a sucker for historical fiction. It's one of my favorite genres. So very nice. So thank you, Sharon, very much. Now, Alice, do you want to, if you are there and you can hear me and you can unmute and you can try your poem from last time. Hopefully you're getting this. Yes, we can, Alice. You are up. Let's try that poem from last time.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Even in silence, there is music. Music, when soft voices die, vibrates in the memory. The silent year. If I were to analyze the effects of COVID-19 on my 2020, I would first turn to the silence that has permeated my days, my nights, all hours of creeping, crawling silence. This silence is a fog with wrenching actions and words hidden within it, disguising. Cold as a strategy, it conceals good, or yet indifference, intolerance, privilege. I sometimes feel like shouting, "Find me, I'm still here in my chair, listening for a sweet call, something to shoo away the shadows silence provides." So then I turn to the thing that has always soothed my soul, music. Unlike silence, music reaches deep and searches for the magics of fond memories. These moments are like waves lapping over and over again along a pristine beach, calming and giving hope and joy. I'm sitting on the stairs on 30th Street, listening to my father singing a hymn while my mother accompanies him on our grand piano. His baritone chords still ripple through my mind, stirring my reverie, knocking away the solemn quiet. Unlike silence, music never deceives. It is always honest, universal. It can instruct, inform, please. I am practicing for a recital. My mother sits beside me, knitting to the rhythm of the metronome. Lift your hands, Alice. Don't pound the keys. Finesse them. It's 9th grade chorus at Stratford Junior High. Mrs. Mortimer calls me up after class and asks me to be the accompanist for this fledgling group of voices. At our first assembly, both my parents are there, standing in the back, smiling. 11th grade, I signed up for music appreciation, and while my friends were trolling through chemistry, I was hanging out with Bach, Mendelssohn, Mozart, Beethoven, later Stravinsky. I was in rapture every 6th period that year. However, the most gorgeous tunes of the year I turned 16 came from a portable record player in Judy Sanders' basement. A kid named Don came over and asked for a dance to the Del Vikings, Come Go With Me. I was instantly hooked, even though I could barely engage in the fancy steps this Mergler boy practiced. This man told me before he proposed that he loved me with the strength of every voice in the Tabernacle Choir. He loved music too, and we hobbied on Broadway, purchasing the sound tapes on the way out. Of all my sons and grandchildren, 2 names stand out. Toby, son 5, was the one who stuck with the piano. A scene shines through the mist of his playing his Gold Cup recital piece and then walking through the crowd, changing his suit to reveal his baseball uniform. and his dad, the coach, rushing with him out the back of the auditorium. And also then grandson Cole performing with the School of Rock and later at Jam and Java and other clubs, using his bass and guitar to delight and rock his grandma. He was still playing as a junior at Berkeley in Boston when COVID arrived and shut down the college. During the late summer of 2001, Sting assembled a bunch of his many musician friends at his villa in Italy. They practiced together for a performance to be given on September 11th. Being 6 hours ahead of New York, they changed the practice music and still played a beautiful concert, which was televised. Don and I watched while this music pierced that evening's terrible, solemn silence. Later that year, when asked who I wanted to speak at Don's funeral, I asked, let's have it be all music. And it was, including his friend playing jazz on his sax, to the audience joining in the great Mormon hymn, Come, Come, Ye Saints. The last verse of this song goes like this. And should we die before our journey's through, happy day, all is well. We then are free from toil and sorrow too. With the just we shall dwell, but if our lives are spared again to see the saints their rest obtain, oh, how we'll make this chorus swell. All is well, all is well. Music and memories reach our innermost being, soothing the soul, erasing the purgatory of silence, and so far, so good this COVID year.
Wow, Alice, that was absolutely
Thank you
beautiful.
for letting me do it.
Oh, it was beautiful, Alice. I love your memoir. I mean, oh, yep, it was absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Alice. I'm glad you could do that as well this time. All right.
Thank you for letting
Thank
me
you.
do it again.
Sure, no worries.
No.
All right, I think that wraps it up for tonight. It was an enjoyable night. I had a long week of school. We were doing memoirs, so just think of reading 100 memoirs by 7th graders. Were yes, difficult time this week. So you guys made my day. So thank you very much. You know, I love you all, and I will see you on the 25th. Mark your calendars. On the 25th, we will have our Christmas program.